Nobody does it better. Maybe.
Okay, thanks a lot. So this is what I can go with now.
Cheers. We had two minutes. That was one.
Third.
Yeah, my daughter was good. My daughter. One was 1, 2 was 2, 3.
I don't wear them.
Oh, boy.
My husband actually shower in vinegar.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, everyone, I'm glad this weather is holding off and this is fun. Let's start with roll call. Here.
Frampton, Atherton. Here.
First item on the agenda is the consent agenda approval.
I will second.
Motion and support. Any discussion? Roll call.
W. Grubb.
Yes.
D. Grubb.
Yes.
Bushies.
No.
Frampton, Atherton. Wait, yes.
Consent agenda is approved. On to first call to the public. This is regarding agenda items only. We do have a couple that are concerning the agenda. Let's start with Jim. Come up.
Okay, it's kind of tied in with the budget, okay? I've been coming here since October, and I've been asking, I can't hear real good. And we have no sound system, no PA at all, and it was originally in October, you were looking into getting something. So how have we progressed on that? Because I am anyways, having a hard time hearing what you're voting on and who is saying yea or nay. And when we're filled up, it's even tougher, okay? I mean, it's something we need to hear and communicate with. So is there any progress on a sound system?
Do you want me to do this with you?
If you'd like.
I arranged for someone to provide sound today and they didn't show up, but it's on order, we're just waiting for all the parts and things to come in. But I did arrange for a rental company to bring sound equipment in today, and they're not here. So I apologize for that, but we're just waiting. The equipment has already been approved, everything's ready to go, we're just waiting for all the components
Well,
and
the
things.
sooner the better for all of us.
Well, I know that, and that's why I arranged for the
Okay.
rental.
I
Because
didn't
thought,
come here to kill you on this, but I just,
no, I'm just
it's been
explaining.
a few months.
I
okay?
tried to,
Thank you.
everything's on back order and whatever, and I tried to get a temporary solution, but I don't know why they're not here.
Is there any timeline at all?
Should be by the end of the month,
So you're thinking about next
by the next month's meeting for sure, I hope, yeah.
Okay, next one up on the budget, Sarah Porter.
Hi. So I just have some questions and things I don't understand that's in this packet for today. When you guys go over like last month's thing and you have when you go over stuff real quick, sometimes it's hard for us to follow, all the ins and outs. But now that it's on paper, I was able to look at it a little closer. So you made motions to reduce $41,800 of budgetary items, but then you made motions to increase $82,000 of budget items. So that's a decrease of $40,200, so I'm kind of wondering, where does that come from? One of my questions is, there's an office assistant salary that you took from $18,000 down to $100, so I'm wondering if that's an open position that's not filled? And that's why you were able to move that money? Because I also noticed you put it back in the budget at the same amount for the upcoming budget. Okay. The account number you have listed for supplies is incorrect. That's actually printing and publishing, so you're putting numbers down here that we can't even follow. Wondering about the postage being over $2,800. I know we were screaming about getting things mailed to us, so that kind of surprised me that was over. Last month you increased the budget $20,000 for legal, and today you're going to ask for $10,000 more. Of course, we asked you to hire Homier, which is great. But I also been pulling the legal bills for the township, and aside from getting billed more than other townships that I've already brought up, from the dates on the invoices, Ms. Cooper looks like she should probably just have an office in this building. So I'm also going to require, and I'm not sure if you want me to send emails to get to some of my answers, because I think I'm entitled to them, as to, like, what's the procedure in-house for what goes to her and what doesn't? I mean, everyone here is down as calling her, conferencing with her, from Megan, Liz, Bill, I mean, obviously I know you guys would, the planners, Gary, Kayla, over and over again. I'm also wondering why she has to review every agenda and every draft and every minute. I mean, it's literally it's a thing typing up what you guys are going to do for the day, so why does she have to go over every single one? Additionally, after we hired Homier, there's $3,000 we spent on solar. She billed us 8 hours, $1,599, where she sat at that last PC meeting, asked one question and did not answer it. She did not answer the question that was asked. There's $2,600 on that invoice that's for solar. She reviewed all the stuff the Solar Advisory Committee gave to you guys before it went to Homier. Like, that is a waste of our money. And now, for the budget coming up, you've increased the budget to $80,000 for next year, from $45,000. We can't afford to pay her double what Homier is doing, and somewhat, it looks like work that probably should be done by our staff. I mean, is no one able to help with, I just don't understand how much work she's supposed to do, I guess, and I'm not sure if anyone can tell me who I ask those questions to. I will gladly put it in writing.
You got 10 seconds.
Okay, on your motion, Bill, for coming up, you also have a wrong account number in the attorney fees. That's not right. And I would also like to ask about the increase. Oh, the budget you're proposing is $120,000 over budget for next year. That's your proposal, is $120,000 over.
Okay, time's up.
I yield her my 3 minutes.
Time's up.
I yield her my 3 minutes.
You didn't request this time.
I just did.
You're not allowed to
You're not allowed to
do
do
that
that.
anyway.
Okay, it's on record.
Is there somewhere I can put in writing my questions?
Absolutely, just send an email.
To whom?
You can send it to the entire board if you like. All right, nobody else? Okay. No. Okay, so then that will come at the second call. All right, so moving on to The approval of the board meeting agenda. Any additions, subtractions?
I have several. Under unfinished business, we need board review alternates still, and we never discussed or decided on the drains issue.
So those two separate items?
Yes?
So we're gonna add, we're gonna make item 13, board review.
I'm guessing.
Actually, the board review will be in, zoning board review. Board review?
We did, and then
It's
he
just, I think it's-
declined. No, he resigned right after he attended the training.
Okay.
There's 14 brains then?
Then 14 is yours.
Then I guess 15 is
Right,
ZBA.
Right. Good evening.
What alternate?
ZBA. Bill was gonna interview all the people between last month and this month, so we could choose.
Got everyone done but one.
And then new business, deputy treasurer wages, and scheduling a budget
So
workshop.
under new business, so we've got, we'll add item 16 then.
16. 22,
22.
23.
Oh, so you're adding it at the end.
Yeah. Actually, I guess it would be 23, 24, and 25, if you cared that much about the numbers. I don't usually pay attention to that.
Yeah.
And I would like to move the auditor contract renewal to the top of new
Yes,
business,
yeah,
so
yeah,
that
I was-
he doesn't have to sit here for the whole
Great.
meeting.
So 24 is what list?
Deputy treasurer wages.
Okay.
What was 23?
Next fiscal year budget, because we added 3 things above, you gotta bump everything down.
Right. And what was
The numbers don't really matter, but budget workshop.
Okay.
Why don't you guys, instead of, maybe make it like 13A or 13B, instead of trying to keep all the numbers?
It doesn't really matter what number it is, as long as we all know what order we're going in, the numbers are irrelevant. That's why I said I don't usually pay attention to that, but I know some people do. We're just doing it in order.
19 up to 16. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions?
That's all I got.
Okay. So I need a motion to approve the meeting agenda as amended.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Support.
The motion and support, any discussion? All in favor of approving the board meeting agenda?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Board meeting agenda is approved. On to the next item, communications. Planning Commission ex officio report. Anything exciting from the Planning Commission?
Yeah, we had a meeting last Monday night, which was the 13th at the school. And basically, there was a call to the public, we had a few people who spoke. The gist of the meeting was, and by the way, it was 34 minutes, Bill. The meeting lasted 34 minutes. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right, and basically, there was a public hearing for the zoning amendment for the ordinance moratorium. And that went, we had that public hearing, and then we went on to new business, and we basically passed the ordinance moratorium for a year. That's going to go to the planning commission at the county, and then come back here for final approval. But it's for a term of 1 year. That's basically the gist of the meeting.
That what? The only item on the agenda. Number 7, school liaison officer program report. Everyone get a chance to read that and understand it?
I'm just excited.
Yeah,
On
spend it on
to,
enforcement instead of the school.
on to item 8, the January recreation board meeting. There you are.
She's on the budget though, I think it's.
Right.
Okay.
But anyone have any questions on that? And the recreation board budget, the next item. Brandy's here to help. If anybody has any questions. I think she's got some numbers for us too.
I'm also in class. I'm listening. Do you have any questions?
Well, your email kind of explains how you brought things into order. Do you have anything new besides that? Has anything happened?
Just that final forms, which doesn't have anything to do with us, but they're gonna start a new program like the high school and the junior high use, which is final forms, but that won't affect us any.
What is that for?
It makes life a lot easier for registration. Coaches have instant information for like health updates, parent contact information. The coaches can send out emails. The high school and the junior high have used it for years.
So it's a communication tool. Okay, that's
And
all I
for
know.
registration and stuff. But did I include in the email that there's a buyout for some of the fundraisers? Did you guys know what that meant?
Well, that's what I was gonna ask you, is
Okay.
when you have a participating parent in the fundraiser, and when you don't have a participating parent in the fundraiser, how does that affect what they actually pay them?
The fundraisers would be the same either way.
So if they participate, regardless if they participate or.
Are you meaning non-participating township or participating parent?
Fundraiser.
So
participation.
currently, the biggest one that a lot of the people do the buyout for is football. So each parent sells a box of candy per child in football or cheer. The rec department currently makes $25 off of that box of candy. If they want to buy out, the current buyout is $25. Cheryl is doubling that because the parents that put the work in to sell the candy bars should have the discount of $25, and if they don't want to participate, the buyout's going to be $50.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yes.
As long as the people that are participating.
Are going to get a discount.
Okay, that's.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else?
Not at this time.
We are currently just under the 43%, and how the rec department is run is participating townships have a set price and non-participating parents pay 43% above that. So as long as we stay at 43 and under, we are in line with where we should be, which is now where we are at.
Are they expanding it?
Expanding what?
Any other curricular activities, sports, whatever? Are they expanding it into other?
Not at this time.
All right.
The daddy-daughter dance and the mother-son dance did come back this year, so those weren't like budgeted in, so we are gonna end up under budget when the July fiscal year ends. And then, she's hoping when football and cheer come back in that we'll be able to do like the, bottle drives and, there was a couple of other fundraisers that they did that helped offset the cost of football, which came into, the over budget the last couple of years. But adding to it, and I think dodgeball's supposed to come back, which was always used as part of the baseball, softball fundraiser. So, but like adding sports now. Teams, like the teams are crazy. Like I coached a 7th and 8th grade team last year for volleyball. We had 2, we have 5 this year. Like the numbers are just really high. And I did look up at old paperwork and how our budget, or how our bill has been much higher. I went to 2019 because in my opinion, 20 and 21 didn't really count because stuff was shut down and they just weren't accurate. We have over 100 more kids in Conway participating in sports this year than we did in 19. So that's why, and those numbers are crazy high in all 5 of the townships. So that's why the bill is higher. The participation is really through the roof.
And that makes the percentage higher.
Yes.
And you explained that I want to commend Brandy because she's the one on the rec committee that went line by line through their budget and adjusted 10 of the sports to cover their own costs instead of 18 losing money. So now they still have 8 that aren't, but they're close, and with the fundraisers, like she said, it should be in line. But she has spent countless hours going over their budget and schooling the school financial administrator and rec program director that a dollar here, a dollar there makes a big difference.
That's why there's two budgets in the packet this month. The one that was presented to us in January, because you guys said to not agree to it, I told them what I would like to see for us to agree, or you guys, not us. With the way the budget was presented at the January 25th meeting, the 5 participating townships would have covered around $1,200 of the cost for non-participating kids. So there was 5 sports that were only between like 50 cents and $3 off to meeting their cost, which would put the non-participating kids at their cost. And they agreed to adjust that, so now we have 10 covering their cost plus some of the overhead. That eats up the $1,200. So it was like $11.98 with the suggestions that I made. So
8 that aren't covered still, or some are not participating, it's included with participating and not participating.
But 7 of those 8 are baseball and softball, and they do a lot of additional fundraising that the other sports, football, cheer, baseball, and softball do the most fundraising. So if you take into consideration their fundraising, the participating and the non-participating, even though it does show that they're not covering their costs, those fundraisers do offset it, and does put them at covering their costs.
And they're
It's
within
that
a
one
lot
basketball right
closer,
now.
they're a lot closer than they were before you started this analysis.
Anyone else have questions for Randy?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
So they want us to approve or not this budget tonight so that they can move on. They have a status form here that we have to either approve it or take no action on their budget that was presented.
So I guess I'll need a motion for that budget approval. Anyone? Can't move on without a motion.
What?
I said, you want it or? So I'll make the motion that we approve the recreation for the budget, so at least we got that out on the floor. So now, all I need is a second, or the motion dies. Give it another 10 seconds. All right, then we'll consider the budget approval failed. On to item 10, the road commission contract. This is just a copy that I wanted to communicate to everyone of the actual contract that was approved previously, so everybody knows exactly what's going on. That's been signed and sent into the road commission. And the last item,
Did you have a start date on that?
I do not yet, but we got it in early again as previous, so it'll probably be right at the beginning of summer. Do you remember when they started, April? Was it April?
Yeah.
You could be looking at something?
Yeah.
I can get a hold of Jody or Bobby and see if they've got it on the schedule.
Is it Reese Riley again, or you don't know?
I'm sorry?
Reese Riley doing it again and Shaw doing the,
I do
all that?
not. I don't know the contractors. More than likely, because I think the county's pretty much locked in. They were, last I remember talking, and this was before the calendar year end, they were still waiting for bids. So. And the last item under communications was the Salmon Levy GIS flyover. It was set for 2024, and I guess Brandy was the one who
No,
told
it
me
was
about
set for
this, it's now
25.
set for this year.
It was set for 25, they're gonna do it in 24 instead.
Oh, okay, I guess I totally misunderstood that then, so it's
So
next
it's a
year.
while out, but just a heads up that it'll happen in 24 instead of 25.
Okay,
Was that the county GIS?
Yes,
yeah.
I wish they'd do it every year, it'd be wonderful.
Well, I think that's pretty large, like that.
I know.
So on to unfinished business. The first item on is broadband. I included something in the packet, but that is going to have to be postponed till next month. The supervisors are still working on the counting, and there's a light, but it's not real bright. So I really don't have much to bring on yet. We're still working on the Board of Commissioners.
What did you say, there's a light?
There's a light at the end of the tunnel, it's just not bright.
Oh, because this is Cahacta's resolution.
Yeah, well, I was gonna
That's-
build on it, but then, we started getting involved. The 8 supervisors are, here in the western part of the county. And we were trying to get together a meeting with the Board of Commissioners. That wasn't really working, so I really don't have anything definitive to go forward on that. So just postpone that to next month.
When you postpone it for next month, can you check to see how many residents that 85,000 for Cahata that gave?
Yeah. Yeah, I do, I can tell you that Iosco and Putnam took their entire ARPA budget and put it into broadband. Cahata took 70,000 of theirs and made a pickleball court. And pretty much the rest of it, for the most part, is going into broadband.
Right, well, that's what I'm
But-
just saying, I want to know what,
How many residents?
how many residents benefit from each township, depending on how much money they give to each, to serve air, or serve broadband,
Okay.
or, that's, I want to know if it's going to benefit more people, then that's good. But if
Yeah.
it's not going to benefit more people, it's only going to benefit 200 people, it's not, that's a lot of money.
Well, from what I understand from talking to some of the other supervisors and some of the research that's going into this, the key to doing something in the township is to be able to apply for grants.
Well, I understand that, like, you gotta be able to give, the township has to give a certain amount of money, and for them to be able to equally get the same amount of money for a grant, but,
Well, it's not really that, Amy. What it is if you apply for a grant, like this Robin or Bead grant that's coming up, if you apply for a grant and in your application, you're just saying, we want to expand, broadband in our township, but you can't show to the grant people that you have already done something to benefit that, you kind of drop to the bottom of the list. They're going to look at the people for the approval, the grant approval, to those that are already doing something.
right.
So that's why, the other townships are wanting to do something. No, you can't, with the ARPA money, there's no way you're gonna build that internet out for the entire township.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying, based off the other townships, of what they have given, how many people are they gonna, is it benefiting their residents, or?
More than like with us. Okay, I can get that
Yeah.
number.
Like how many people
And I
did
don't-
their 85,000 buy when they want 330 from
Right,
us
and the
for
other thing I wanted-
216 people?
And the other thing I wanted was a quote from a search. How much money are they putting towards this? Like, how much is their quote gonna be? Their cost of labor, material? Their cost of labor and material, what they're putting into,
Oh, there was a number. I don't have that at my fingertips. But there was a number for what they were putting in.
I wanna, yeah, but we have it in writing.
Sure. I think it
I
was,
would
but I can pull it
prefer
out.
everything to be in writing. And I was wondering, just out of curiosity, why it says Jennifer Richter Township Clerk on the Cahata resolution. Because it's not their clerk's name, and I don't have any idea who Jennifer Richter is. It says, I was just curious about that.
Yes, I'm kind of curious about that too.
It doesn't matter, but I just,
Yeah.
no, she hasn't, it was Brenda Meek and Sue Dietz was the deputy, and then it was RP. So I don't know who that person is. I agree with Amy, I want to see details, and I think we already have budgetary issues that we need to address, spending all this money.
Couple Pace got somebody in trouble on that document. I see what you're saying. Okay. So we get them all the people per township.
It just seems a little suspicious to me that they want whatever we tell them we have. Kahaka said we only have 85, so they're like, okay, cool, we'll do it. How many people do they get for that? You tell them we got 330, which we really don't. Nobody has agreed to spend that for them, but they're budgeting their whole plan on you telling them that's how much money we have. And only 216 people get internet for that.
Okay. So broadband will be postponed until next month, I'll have further information. Item 13 under unfinished board of review. I'm pretty sure, I'm positive, that Brett Cordes said he would do board review and ZBA.
So is that
And I
a motion?
confirmed that that is okay. So we could make a motion that we appoint Brett Cordes to the board of review and fill that alternate position.
You were supposed to interview everybody and make a recommendation. So what's your recommendation?
Brett Cordes is good with me. There is one, what's her name? I haven't been able to connect with her.
Tiffany Dean.
No, I got her. And I don't have, there's one person I have not been able to connect with. So I don't think that's critical at this point in time. That's why I was going to try to get her connected before the next board meeting. That way I'll personally interview every single applicant that we've got.
So we're not going to deal with this tonight? Don't forget it next month,
Got forgotten.
please.
If I've got a person interview, which.
No, I
was
mean, you
requested-
didn't put it on this month. I'm just
No.
saying, remember it next month because we postponed it now 2 months in a row.
But due to recent board meetings, are we addressing every applicant?
Yes. I am personally, face-to-face interviewing everyone.
Do you understand what happened here a couple meetings ago?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
That's why I asked if I interviewed everyone.
Item number 14, drains. And I believe your reason for adding this on the agenda is what is the county doing with that proposal? Ken Recker is trying to get a date for, it's not really a public hearing, but it's a public notice or whatever, to go on to everyone and the shark drain. And I think there is a meeting that's required.
It does have to be a public hearing.
Yeah, Ken's just trying to get that scheduled.
So
They got
we're,
sent notice.
He suggested a date, and then I got an email back from him, no, he can't do that date, he's got something else going on someplace else. So I'm just waiting to get a date set.
so we're now only looking at Sharp, not all 4 that they recommended?
Ken was the one that recommended that we do the sharp drain for the hearing,
Well,
because so many residents are involved.
right, okay, so I would like to then, I guess I'd make a motion that we commit to the process of exploring sharp drains, repairs, and that we use ARPA funds for it.
Are you limiting it to sharp?
No, I wanted to say all 4 until he just said that about sharp.
What would you expand on that? in your
Okay, I
motion?
would like to make a motion that we commit to the process to have the sharp drain, I'll give you all the names in a minute, Lang and Morlock, Conway 22, and Conway 4, the proposed repairs that they set, because they're gonna fall apart. And I think if we're gonna spend ARPA money, infrastructure that's crumbling trumps infrastructure that hasn't been put in yet. That was a long motion.
Could you restate the motion, please?
I would like to commit to the proposed plan of action for the 4 drains from the Drain Commission and use ARPA funds to pay for it.
Second.
I've got a motion and support. Discussion?
You want all 4?
Well, it's a
Or you just-
process.
Or you just wanna see which one's the worst and then.
No, I want to do all 4 because when we met with them, they said those 4 are bad and need to be done. And they gave us prices and so, but it's a process. They have a public hearing and I'm sure each drain is addressed individually. But I would like to do this on all of the ones that they say need work.
Right, but I think in part of the previous conversations that we had on this was trying to get something from like Ken Record as far as worst to least worst.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, all right, and I understand that, but my point is I think we're probably gonna run out of money before it's over. Okay, that's my reason.
The total, I added it up, it's, can I have that back for me? It's not, let me add them up. The total for the township, to do them all, is far less than 330,000. I was thinking around 80, and I'm thinking I'm pretty close. Oh, no. Yeah, I was actually, the total for the township for all 4 is 82.5, which is what I thought. It was around 80,000. And these are the 4 drains that they said needed to be done because they're falling apart and they're, they can't fix them anymore, they need to be redone. And they listed them in order of how many households are served.
Yeah, I thought the last time when we were discussing it, we were trying to see which one was the worst to do. I'm okay.
Sharp and Conway 22, I have notes that I can look up on which is which, but Lang and Morlock and they're all bad. I do have notes, but they just listed them all, and so.
Was that 82.5 part of
Yes.
your motion? Are you limiting it to that?
No, because,
Well, that wasn't the correct amount.
well, I mean, it's their estimate, but something could happen when they get in there. So that's why I don't want to put a dollar amount. I just want to commit to the Drain Commission that we will proceed with these projects. And he said these numbers are good unless they get in there and find something catastrophic that they weren't anticipating. These aren't just like shot in the dark. And the reason I'm pushing for it, even though not everyone benefits from drains, they're putting in a lot more money from their ARPA funds to do this time, and they don't normally do that. We usually would be paying a lot more than this.
So does the landowner still get assessed?
Yes, the landowners get assessed. On Sharp, it's 70,000. On Lang and Morlock, it's 12. On Conway 22, it's 25. And on Conway 4, it's 25.
You also understand, as Ken told me, that we do have a limit of the money that the county will give us on the ARPA funds. Now, whether that limit covers all 4 drains, that is unknown.
But that's what he budgeted on this report, was this is what they're putting in, this is what we're putting in, and this is what the residents are putting in.
Well,
So,
what was the limit on the ARPA funds?
I
From the
don't
county.
recall any kind of limit. I think they had 6 million that they were doing over the county.
And Ken told me on the phone, he was thinking something about 200,000 for Conway.
Well, they've got 61, 71, 90, they got about 125 here. So they have the money.
But if there's money on the table, I'd like to use it
That's why I'm saying we wanna do this, because they're putting in more than they normally would, because they're using ARPA funds. I believe he said they had 6 million total for the county,
Yep.
and that these are the numbers that, this is their best estimate.
Because I think we have more drains that need to be done other than what's listed.
There's probably gonna be some maintenance drains, like there always is, but these need to be rebuilt and redone, whatever that entails. Some of them are open, some of them are tile, some of, they're all different. I don't know the details of each individual drain. But I went in there not knowing anything about drains and came out learning a lot. And that,
Is any of that money retroactive? I had a drain done last year.
oh no, I was like, no.
So you're
He
screwing me.
specifically
You're
said
screwing me is what you're
that
doing.
what he said was the drain that serves George Pushies is not included.
Mhm. You see how this works? You see how this works?
I already know that about broadband.
It would be special, it would be special treatment. No, he didn't say anything about retroactive.
All right, just, I had to ask.
Okay, so continuing with discussion, I'd just like to state for the record, because I know it was mentioned last month's board meeting, that we'd like to see that ARPA money go towards drains and roads. Drains and roads will always be with us. Those drains will be continuing maintenance, we'll see them pop up again 5, 10 years later, and again and again and again.
And how often do you get this kind of money?
If true, not saying that, but also if the money was diverted to broadband, those homes will be serviced for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years and not have to be put in again.
Even when they're,
Just-
even when they're underwater?
And some, I was gonna say, some of these drains are 40, 50, 60 years old or more.
Agreed.
So they've lived,
But they'll-
outlived their
but they'll-
usefulness.
They'll continue to pop up. Just
So-
stating
Sorry,
for the
no, I
record.
had to do it. I had
Just
to.
stating for the record, that's all. Not saying one way or another. So anyway, there is a motion and a support on the floor to use the ARPA for all 4 drains. And if there's no further discussion, and that's a lot of money.
Well, we're not spending anything right now.
That's
We're
true.
just committing to the project, and when we get to the actual bill, we can
Okay.
spend the money.
So right now, it's just a motion. So, to look at that and commit to that, all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
3, all opposed? Aye. That motion's carried. Last item under unfinished business, CBA, things with board review. Postpone that to next month.
So, when you interviewed these people, now we're postponing both, did they express which they were interested in, or is everybody just say, I'll do whatever you tell me?
Brett Cordes, said he would be more than willing to do, board review and ZBA.
Well, he's already on the ZBA as a member, he's the chair,
Okay.
so he can be a board review alternate.
Yes, you can.
But-
The others are ZBA.
So if he's the only board review alternate, why aren't we appointing him?
I still have one that I have.
Oh, okay, I
Not been able to
thought, okay.
contact.
I didn't, but you said that the rest of them were applying for the ZBA alternate.
Correct.
So if he was the only one that applied for the board review alternate,
There's one I have not been able to interview that might say they would like to be on the.
oh, she didn't apply for a specific position?
Correct.
Oh,
Just
okay.
under,
I thought they all applied for something specific that they
I'm giving everyone the opportunity for the 2 different openings.
wanted. Okay.
So with that finished, on to the next item under new business. Ken?
Me?
Sir?
I'm here tonight to answer any questions regarding our audit proposal for the next 3 years. I've served as your auditors now for the past 6 years, and we appreciate the opportunity to continue to serve as your auditors. As far as the fees go, it's filled out on paragraph 7 in the proposal, and we're looking at the first year would be $9,750, second year $10,000, and the third year $10,250.
And just for clarification for the board, what was 2022? Wasn't it 9 or was it 9.5?
I thought it was 9.5.
9.5?
20, oh,
For last
for
year.
the past audit?
Yeah,
I
for
don't know,
past.
though. I don't have
I think
that.
it was 9.5.
Okay, so essentially, it's going up like 250 a year for the next 2 years.
Correct. That's what we're proposing.
I would make a motion that we approve this contract.
I second.
Discussion?
You provided a draft
Is
for
that
the,
DG?
for the last fiscal year.
Okay,
Yes.
When do we get the completed version?
I thought you did receive that complete
Or you can receive it?
Yeah, we got all, no, we got all the official, and did you not get one
We
out
got
of
the
your
hard,
mailbox?
we got the hard copy draft.
Yeah, but I mean, he brought in hard, well, he didn't, but somebody else brought in hard copies, and they all got put in people's
I didn't-
mailboxes.
I didn't get it.
Did you check your mailbox lately?
Well, I had a bunch of stuff here today.
Oh, I don't know, I'm just saying. Amy's got one.
I got it because it was in the computer bag.
Oh,
Picked it up.
okay. I'll have to double check.
We can get you a copy,
Yeah.
because we have extras.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Ken?
Not at this time, no.
Okay, we've got a motion and support to accept the renewal contract from the auditor. Does need to be a roll call? Roll call.
D-Grub,
Yes.
Bushies,
Yes.
Crampton Atherton,
Yes.
Witt,
Yes.
W. Grub.
Yes. Thank you, Ken.
We had one other proposal, Bill, for your chart of accounts. There was, I gave you a letter, or is that,
Yep, that's next.
you want to talk about that right now?
Why don't you explain it? I know what it's about, but, and Deb
Okay.
knows, but why don't you explain?
So that everybody understands, the state of Michigan requires you to have a specific chart of accounts, if you will, for local governments. Well, they've been changing this chart now for the past several years, and they finally decided on a final chart of accounts. And so we are going to help, our proposal is to help Conway Township with that chart of accounts. You use QuickBooks as your accounting software, so that's where we would help you in establishing that new chart and putting that into your accounting software. Okay, and our proposal to do that is at $4,600. That would be the max. So if we come under that, we would charge you less. If we start to hit the 4,600 and we think we may go over, we would come back to the board to explain why that, why that's transpired.
And can you explain why you want to do it, not have us do it? But be kind.
Well,
Because I offered.
yeah, and we will sit down with you and go over the chart and have you do as much as you can, to your understanding of how it should work with the various accounts. You have your assets, your liabilities, your equity, your deferred inflows and outflows, those types of things that mostly a bean counter truly understands, since if you don't deal with it all the time, then you don't, it's hard to get a grasp of it. So we would be assisting you with that, and everything that you can do as far as the monotonous work going through every account and changing them, that would be up to you guys. We would help you get started on that.
In lieu of that, is it time to look at different accounting software?
For Conway Township, George, that's a question that's been posed to us a few times. To get a software like BSNA, that's what 90% of townships will use, but they're a lot larger than Conway Township. You're looking at $50,000, $60,000. And for what QuickBooks provides, I think is fine for a township your size. And your internal staff do as much as they can to overlook what the other guy's doing. Your clerk and treasurer are both signing checks and overlooking bank reconciliations. So you have those compensating controls out there to help offset the things that QuickBooks can't do that BSNA can do.
And we also have a trustee that reviews the bank statements against the reconciliations.
Right.
Not only is it in the packet, but she actually goes through line by line and makes sure, so it's outside from the people signing the checks and the whole board sees it all.
The township's come a long way since we started here.
Are we sure that this is the final? Because every meeting I go to, they come up.
That's what they're telling us,
they're like,
Deb. I agree.
This is it.
They told us that a year ago and 2 years
Well, and
ago.
Well, it was
even a year
supposed to-
before that.
It was supposed to go before COVID, and then when COVID happened, then there was problems with QuickBooks, number of account digits and all that, so that it got pushed, but I thought this year was the year that we have to do it. So, so you're gonna bill the 115 an hour, not
Correct.
4,600?
Correct.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we agree to the proposal for $115 an hour, not to exceed 4,600 without further approval.
I will second that motion.
Discussion? Roll call?
Bushies,
Yes.
Crampton Atherton,
Yes.
Witt,
Yes.
W. Grub,
Yes.
D. Grub.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
I'll send you a copy of this signed contract to you tomorrow. I have it now if you want to just scan it and send it back. That's all I gotta do is scan it, so I have a copy. That's for the audit, thanks.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
On to the resolution to correct the millage rate. This was unfortunately, this resolution was drafted by Abby. This came in late after the packet was way sent out. So I've got given everybody a copy of that resolution. I can read it, or I can explain it. The 4029 that we received from the county for the Ingham Intermediate, or the Ingham ISD, or the Ingham Intermediate School District, had a number that was written on the 4029 that was actually .0006 mils higher than what it should have been. We sent that in, the county approved it, confirmed it. It wasn't even discovered by equalization, it was discovered by the county treasurer. And this, this overcharge resulted in a $2.18 overcharge for all the properties affected.
All of them
Not
combined? or-
individually,
Just
combined.
9.
So the $2.18 is for everybody in the Waterville School District
And
combined?
it,
Come back.
yes, which it averages to
I thought it was
a
per
little,
person.
no, it averages to less than 2.5 pennies.
That's fine. I thought it was
And
per
no.
parcel.
No, so the ink on the paper costs more.
The
Yes.
paper costs more.
Yes.
But the county treasurer said
Said it
this has to be by law
by
adjusted.
law.
Okay.
So we went back and forth between the attorney and the county treasurer and said, how can this thing be corrected? Abby was the one that suggested that what we do is charge .0006 mils less on next year's tax bill.
Because, I mean, let's
Because
face
to
it,
do,
$2.18. But
send a
by
check
law,
out
it
to
has
everyone,
to
that's
be
just
done.
ridiculous. So
And
that's
we
what this resolution is to approve this.
And it's 230221-01.
Dash, yes.
And I will offer the resolution.
Dash 01.
Yes.
Mhm.
This is-
Because it would cost, well, you know what it would cost to send somebody each of those 92 cents.
Second.
W. Grub,
Yes.
Witt,
Yes.
D. Grub,
Yes.
Bushies,
Yes.
Crampton Atherton.
Yes.
Resolution's been adopted. Next item, the resolution for property exemption and asset test. You get a chance to read that one in the packet. This is required to establish the property exemption guidelines and set the asset level test for establishing that property threshold. So it's just something that the township has to adopt by resolution.
I will offer the resolution as 23022102.
Support?
I'll support it.
This is another anybody have any discussion?
I did.
Okay. Roll call.
Crampton Atherton,
Yes.
Witt,
Yes.
W. Grubb,
Yes.
D. Grubb,
Yes.
Bushies.
Yes.
What's your motion stated?
Proposing that the stipend be raised to 75 from 50. It's been 50 since 2015.
Okay, so you're making a motion. Do we have support?
It's not my statutory duty. I'm not required to do it. If I stop, I don't know what's going to happen.
Why don't the surrounding townships pay stipends?
So there's a motion on the floor. Just need support to go forward.
No.
Support? Support, motion fails.
Same for fire coordinator. Both of them become more of a chore, and again, not my statutory duty.
Motion on the floor to raise the fire coordinator stipend from 75. What was it now, Liz?
50.
50, okay, same thing like you said, okay. Motion's on the floor, need support.
Other things over the years, we've gone from 40 to 50 to 75 to 90. All the other stipends, to 105, 110.
Last call for support. Motion fails. Next item on the agenda, motion to amend policy 17, partial payments.
So, it was brought to my attention by the outgoing deputy treasurer that it specifically says in our partial payment policy that special assessments could not be made with partial payments, but they were on the tax bills as partial payments, so this is editing it to say, to remove the including partial payments at the end of the list of fees that must be paid in full and putting it up with tax bills. And I put the red line copy in for everyone to see. That's what the changes are, and that's what was recommended by the attorney. So I move we make this amendment.
Motion's on the floor to amend policy 17, is in the packet.
I support.
Motion, support, discussion? No discussion, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion to amend policy 17 is passed. This is the last one I threw in the packet. This is just a motion that we put out a request for bids on getting our sidewalk around the building either repaired, and I doubt that can happen, but, or preferably replaced due to damage and unevenness. What you've seen the one that's just to the left of the door walking outside, but if you walk around the building, the sidewalk, there is some unevenness. It's a result of frost, freeze and thaw and
Drainage issues too.
could be drainage issues also.
Salt and concrete.
I think that mostly happened because the people that used to plow the parking lot plowed the sidewalk and tore it all up. There's chunks all the way along. And the particular bad crack right now is part of that that just has spread as water has gotten in and out of there. And that's no longer the practice for the current plowing company and hasn't been for many years, but
Should
we've
that be,
had,
should that be stipulated in the future agreements and so on? So that we don't tear up the sidewalk
we
again?
could, but I've never had anyone else do that.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say,
so,
Well, I don't like paying for it again.
no, I know. And I've had, the chips and gouges patch, but they don't hold. They just fall off and then, so, I mean, we can add that to the stipulations in the future, but it was somebody that was plowing back in before 16, I believe. And the people that have been doing it since haven't done that. They clear it with shovels and they don't drive on the sidewalk with their truck and plow it.
They're not lazy.
And the bad one is right up front. You know, you have your handicap parking
You
and
go out
right where
the
the
door for a
assessors.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
We
a
kind
lot
of
of
put
the general
caution tape,
public
but the
park.
wind keeps blowing it and breaking it.
So I mean, it is a danger.
When you solicit for these bids, where do you advertise?
Probably in the paper and on the website.
But in news and views.
News, just the news and views, or are you going out to trade papers? I mean, where are you going?
When you go
To
out for bids
solicit
on this,
this.
what is?
I'm not going out for bids on this, you are.
Okay, well, I'm saying, when you go out for bids on items, do you use the newspaper other than news and views?
No. But I normally contact contractors directly and ask for bids. We rarely get them, but, I've looked into using like MTA and places like that and it's too expensive.
What about a county paper?
But we just never have.
Yeah, well, my point is I think when it came back on some of the tree bids on the cemeteries, you know, there were some pretty good bids in there, and I'm just trying to expand the range of these bid packages and where they're going.
We personally called 10 or 15 tree companies asking them for bids. They said they would submit them and never did. So putting it in the paper is the least useful way to do it. We just do it because we're required to. But we reached out and called people and they all said, oh yeah, I'll get you a bid, and then they never did. So that's why we ended up with 2 bids for the most recent job. The job before in Antrim that was almost, I think it was about half the price, we got like 3 bids. And for the road in Antrim, we got 1 or 2, which I had called around to everybody who put in crushed asphalt drives. And so it's just, nobody wants to do these small jobs. And,
I'm just trying to expand the scope.
no, I know,
of where they're
but
going.
putting it in the paper is the least helpful. We've gotten more interest from people like that's hanging on the board and they come in to pay their taxes or vote that will say, hey, are you still taking bids? Or, you know, and like I said, we called a bunch of people, I emailed out the specs to people and they just don't bid it.
Is there an email list of township people that do that type of work?
I mean, like out there
Yeah,
somewhere?
like people of the township wanted to bid on it, with the proper insurance. everything.
No, I don't have any kind of, we don't have any kind of list of everybody that owns a business in the township.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, I don't have anything like that.
The point I'm trying to make is if they don't read the news and views, they're not gonna know.
I know, but I'm telling you, I call people and they still don't bid. So, I mean, we had the infamous table, the only person that bid was in the township.
Sure it is.
But, I do what I can, but this is on Bill, so he'll just have to do whatever he.
I'm just trying to expand the scope of
I
where
get
it's
it,
going.
but, I mean, it's not like I don't try, but people just don't wanna bid it.
Okay, this one got a little out of order, because I made the motion, I don't have a support in the end of the discussion, so I need a support.
Second.
Got that. Is there any further discussion?
Well, what are we making,
All we're doing is
the 2 bid bids
the
to?
motion is just to request bids.
But what are you getting the
Getting
bids
bids
for?
on-
Is it to get it replaced or to get it repaired? Because that's 2 separate things and you gotta have scope when you give them, and you gotta have scope, you gotta have a deadline, you gotta have criteria for like insurance and things like that, so, this is kind of vague.
You just want to amend from after repaired / replace, depending on the bid, something to that effect. Bill?
Well, I'm not a cement contractor,
I didn't say you were.
so I would like the cement company, who would want to
Pending,
bid on this,
pending the bids.
to come out and inspect this
Yeah,
and
understood.
give us their opinion.
Understood.
Do you have any concept how much it would be, George? Just off the,
Money-wise?
yeah,
No.
because, that depends on whether it has to be sealed bids too.
You gotta demo it and then.
I know, I'm just saying the price dictates whether or not they're sealed bids.
What is that
What
threshold?
is that
I
threshold?
believe it's 25,000.
Well, depending on how much you do.
Yeah. I mean, if we can just get by with fixing the absolute, worst of that.
Well, I've already fixed, like I said, multiple times, not that, but, and I'm not advocating either way, I'm just telling you the parameters.
What about leveling? Could they level it? Could they jack it? They have a system.
It's busted up.
Okay, but, yeah, okay, I get that part, but they do have a leveling system now that they can level.
Is it actually on level, or is it only
No,
because it's busted?
If it's broken, it's broken, I get
It's
it.
broken and it's deteriorating underneath and coming out into the parking lot. The worst spot is the thing that I have the shepherd's hook in front of right now. If you walk out the door to the left, there are 3 more areas from the first pillar to the left that are gonna do the same thing. I walk to the right, and there is more patches in that. The very corner over here is lifted and unlevel, and then the last pad down here is shifted out of its place. The sidewalk walking out to here, to the sidewalk is fine, but up against the building, it needs more felt. And then right outside the door, it needs more felt filling, so I was gonna ask them to do that. Both the pads out back are fine. But this parking lot on the side also has the damage from the plow truck. I don't believe that that is repairable. It is really, really bad.
I'm gonna.
And then the pad, when you walk out the door from this is fine, but there's like 1 pad, 2 pad sidewalk. This second pad is shifted away from the building also. Todd did a couple of years ago, put that filler stuff in it, but the first pad is level, the second pad is not. So that part and both of the back 2 doors here are fine.
All right, just seek bids, Bill, but there needs to be a stipulation put in on the snow plowing that they cannot get on the sidewalk with it.
I can add that. The sealed bids is threshold is 20,000,
20,000.
not 25,000. And I can add that to the plowing
I just don't wanna go through this.
stipulation.
No.
Right, no, I agree. It's never been an issue except for that one company did it.
So I think the way to proceed this is to get a hold of some local contractors. There's quite a few of them that do cement work. And if it looks like they're coming back to me that this is gonna cost buku bucks, then we actually put out there for sealed bids.
If they're gonna do it, let's look at drainage issues before they do it. In other words, if they're gonna remove it and they can identify drainage issues coming off the roof sumps, coming out and draining, causing a problem, that needs to be addressed.
Okay.
When you solicit though, just have them, if they believe that there's a drainage issue that's contributing to this, in addition to driving.
You're right.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at.
Okay. So I'd still like to leave my motion as it stands, so just you all can get some bids. And obviously, nothing's gonna be done until those bids, until I get some more information, and then I can address it
Gotta be approved.
next month.
It's gotta be approved.
Right. So let me go to some further information. So is the board in favor of going out for bids?
Are you asking us to vote?
Yeah, I made the motion.
George supported it.
George supported it, so all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? What did I do with my agenda? Skipping over the audit contract renewal, we already did that. Budget amendments. This again is what's required to keep our budget in line. These amendments are required by the state or by the state law. So that motion is in the packet.
Well, we need to address the issues that Sarah Porter brought up about account numbers, and I
Okay,
don't
first-
think the attorney budget is adequate.
Okay, first, I made the motion and you support for discussion. support to do this.
You made the motion and you supported it too?
I'm sorry. Never mind. Just trying to get this thing to move forward. So, no support?
What, I didn't,
It's just can you see the request for the amendments? You can read it.
yes, yes,
Okay.
I'll support it.
And this is for this year's budget, not next year's, just to balance it out.
Okay.
Okay, so I got a motion and support. Any discussion? You wanted to address, what did you say, Liz?
I believe Sarah Porter mentioned there was some errors in the account numbers.
Two.
On this or the proposed budget for next year?
I guess on this, because the proposed budget for next year isn't really affected by the account number like a budget amendment is.
Because these numbers came right from QuickBooks. It's what they're unclassified right now in QuickBooks.
Why did the postage go up so high?
Because postage increased how many cents a stamp? And plus we have to mail a lot more election mail now. And it's gonna only get way worse next year. What, do you remember how much the increase was? Wasn't it like 10 or 12 cents?
It was 4 cents.
Oh,
It
was
was
it
3
cards
cents.
that went up a high? We did purchase a lot before the increase, so we would not have that increase, but we're almost out of them now. And so we've had to mail, what? Elections has eaten up a lot, and they're gonna continue to go up exponentially with the early voting and all that stuff, so, it's
And
not.
the assessment notice is going out too, I don't.
Right, the tax bills and assessment notices that are in there all the time too, but those we actually get cheaper because the
Yeah.
printer uses their bulk permit. We use bulk mailing for the initial mailing of absentee applications, but ballots and all the other applications and stuff have to go out at first class rates, so it's pretty expensive. And we have like 1,200 people on our permanent AV list right now, so.
Wow.
Elections have become very expensive, and they're only gonna get more so next year, so. I would say that's probably a lot of it. The assessing department has started sending out, postcards in advance of, reassessing each parcel, 20% of the parcels a year, and the postcard stamps went up too, but I don't remember how much. And, those are postcards that are mailed, the other stuff is first class mail.
Rather than waiting until this such a time to do these amendments to the previous budget year, why don't we get notifications when we reach the budgeted allotment? for that?
Every month we get a budget report, and it shows when we're out
I
and not.
understand, but why not bring it up to everybody's attention even more so?
Mr. Supervisor, I have to tell you that, because I've been asking him for months.
Okay,
Must have been on the office.
can you explain the utility budget, why it has increased?
Understand, this isn't just budgeting, this is money that's already been
No,
spent.
I know, but why has it increased? Utilities. I know the heating bill's gone up. But,
Turn the heat down.
I know.
I mean, it used to just be on like 75 all the time before we put in these thermostats, and they're all programmed, they go down into 62 or something when we're not here.
The
But
question was, why did it go up?
I just wanna know why these are going up. I mean, I can see why they go up like, but they're going up a little bit.
Is there more time being spent in the hall?
No,
I would say
I
no.
don't think so.
Although I guess one thing is, you know, this year over, you know, maybe a couple of previous years, we were renting the hall out, and I can't see that being accounting for this entire increase. We'd have to pull the utility bills and look at it from year to year.
It was Amy's question, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna blame her.
You can come in and we can give you a report. I can't tell you right off the top of my head why.
No,
And Bill's been doing the budget this year for the first time, so I haven't been involved, but I can certainly show you utility bills, but I can't tell you what they are right now, what
No,
made them increase.
I get it. I'm just-
Yeah, I don't.
I'm new to the game and I'm asking questions.
Right, no, yep, and I'm just saying, anytime you want an answer, come in and I can give you the bills and things, but I don't know right off the top of my head what this is. I do know that the postage is more expensive, and I know that other things, we did a lot of training for the planning commission, and the planners were, I don't think the planner this year was more expensive, but they were involved. Maybe George would be able to speak more to that. Because we've always had planners at the meetings, right?
Not necessarily.
Oh, I thought you guys did, I never attended until recently.
Well, they didn't show up.
Okay, well then, they were supposed to be there, and we would have had a bill, but they didn't show up,
Okay,
that's why
but-
we changed planners.
But we went from one extreme to the other because
Right.
when we did the solar amendments back a year ago, I thought it was just gonna be one planner. We had two sitting in the meetings, okay? I don't really see the need for two.
And I wasn't involved in that
Okay,
part, so I don't know either,
but again, we're running over on budget.
right?
So that's, you know, we spent a lot of money on a planner that I don't think was justified.
Any other questions or discussion? Get a motion and support. So all in favor of the motion amending the budget, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Nay,
Motion failed.
Deb, you didn't vote?
I'm sorry?
I asked Deb if she voted.
On to the next fiscal year budget. That is a draft that's in there. And since one of the future items on our agenda is the budget workshop, this is some suggestions and for the board's considerations.
I have not compared the two, but I ran one based on this current year's expenditures and income. And my total came out with a net income of $48,000. Now, I know there's gonna be things that have to be adjusted, so it's not gonna be that rosy. But I have not looked line by line at why yours comes in at $156,000 over budget. Because I didn't get this till last Wednesday and
Yeah.
didn't have time to address it. And you took over the budgeting and packet duties this year, so I haven't been involved in it.
We really did the budget last year too.
Yeah, I guess you did.
Okay. So, anyway, let's go on to item 24, deputy treasurer wages.
1 second.
Yeah.
Are we gonna do are we picking a date for our budget?
That's coming up.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So I have a motion that I gave you to change the way the deputies are paid. In the past.
Deputies?
Yes. When, in the past, both deputies were paid the same hourly rate because there wasn't a lot of turnover and they'd come in inexperienced and had worked into experience. But since you became supervisor, we've now lost 2 deputy treasurers, and I don't believe it's right to hire a new person at the same rate as someone who's been doing the job and going to training and stuff. So we have talked in the past about having ranges or different things. I don't think you can keep paying people the same thing when they walk in the door that someone who's been here for years is making because of experience and training. So this motion, I would like to propose that we pay the deputy treasurer $15 an hour to start, and then as they get, instead of just out of the gate, they get the same thing.
you're referring to the deputy clerk and the deputy treasurer.
I'm only proposing, the deputy clerk already makes what she makes because she's working. This is a new hire that I'm referring to.
Well, I would like to discuss that I still keep my treasurer and that she can work for the zoning administrator, but not the clerk's office.
She doesn't work for the clerk's office, and she does not want to be the deputy treasurer anymore. She resigned because she wants to be the office assistant.
Well, I've talked to her and she was resigning from that because basically she was told she wouldn't be able to have her hours.
Would anyone else like to weigh in on that subject?
Well, what,
Why are you looking at me?
Because she told you, she
I
told
know.
her, she told me she doesn't want to do the deputy
You want
treasurer
to
job.
hold on a minute, hold on.
That's,
Hold on.
Whoa, one person asked for it at a time.
I'm trying to understand who's working for who.
okay. All right, here's the story. Before Bill became supervisor, he was the deputy treasurer. He only came in if Deb was gone or needed help during tax time. When Bill became supervisor, Deb hired Gabby as the deputy treasurer, and she was already the office assistant. But because the deputy treasurer job isn't full all the time, she was able to do both jobs. Then when she resigned from that job and became the deputy clerk, the new deputy treasurer came in, same story. I was told she was going to work when the treasurer wasn't here and during tax time. And so I asked the treasurer first, and then I advertised for an office assistant and offered it to the deputy treasurer if she was interested, because she doesn't work for the clerk, she works for the zoning administrator, the assessor, she works for everybody. The office assistant assists everybody.
So
Answers
I'm
the
more
phone,
con-
does
I'm
the
more
counting.
confused
Well,
now
Liz
than I
has the
was
floor.
before.
Liz has the floor, let her stay.
All right, go ahead.
So, the current position is, 2 positions are performed by one person. She came to me and said, I want to be the office assistant, I don't want to be the deputy treasurer, and I want to know if you will keep me on in the office assistant position. And I said, absolutely. And she enjoys that job more, there's more variety and less stress. And so she offered her resignation to the treasurer last week and reiterated again to me today that the treasurer approached her about staying on as deputy and not office assistant, and she told me that she doesn't want that. So the deputy treasurer position is open, and I'm proposing in this motion that we pay that new person $15 an hour, and that they only work when the treasurer's not here and when it's tax time, just like it was done for
Okay.
years and years and years and years and years.
I need to interject something, that past $15 an hour needs to be stricken. I confirmed with MTA that even the township board has no authority in restricting appointed deputies' hours.
The pay is completely controlled by the board,
That's true.
so the hourly rate and the amount of hours they work is part of the budget, and that is controlled by the board.
That's true.
So what are you're saying that that's not true, but now you're saying it is true?
I am saying that you cannot restrict the hours that the deputy treasurer works.
Okay, then you said to strike the $15 an hour.
No, I didn't. I said after the $15 an hour.
Okay, well, okay, I'm fine with that, but I don't want to pay a new inexperienced person the same thing we're paying somebody who has been doing 3 jobs for several years.
Could I ask,
McDonald's make 18.
can I
Well,
get a
you gotta
clarification?
work more than 12 hours a week too.
You got a deputy treasurer that's performing deputy treasurer duties, correct?
But she resigned, that's the point. She resigned last week.
Just hold on.
Okay.
You have an office assistant. Is that position filled or not filled?
Deputy treasurer has been doing both jobs, but no longer wants to do both.
Why wasn't the office assistant position filled?
It was by the deputy treasurer. She applied.
When
and
did
was-
that happen?
I don't know, a year ago?
Was that a board decision?
No,
Why not?
because it's not a board decision.
How is it not a board
The
decision?
board is in control of everything.
Okay, well, that's nice to know. Then I'll stop doing all that stuff. The clerk is in charge of the office assistant person. And,
Who gave you that authority?
the personnel manual,
And where is that written?
in the personnel manual. I don't know what page, I just know that,
Well, I'm not fluent with it, so that's why I'm asking the question, so.
I don't have it but we average.
I don't recall giving the clerk the authority to be the
You
office
didn't,
manager.
it was done years before either one of us were sitting here.
Okay,
I'm more than happy to give it up if someone else wants it.
okay.
The point is, we don't have a deputy treasurer. She's going to be hiring one. I would like to set their wages before that happens.
No, I heard there isn't one deputy treasurer, then I heard there may still be one, which is correct.
I had asked her with that, would she be willing to work with that?
And her response was that she would be just the office
She
assistant.
said the reason that she did it was because she needs the hours. And she needs her hours to work.
All right.
Where if she's just mine, she can't have the hours and she,
She
Okay.
told me she doesn't want to do the treasurer job because there's too much stress and responsibility, and she enjoys the office assistant job more. She likes working the variety. So, as of today, she told me her resignation as deputy treasurer stands and she wants to continue as the office assistant. I guess if you wanted to grill her on this stuff, we could have told her to be here, but she is done as of February 28th as deputy treasurer. And I'm assuming Deb wants to start looking for someone to replace her. That's why I'm adjusting the pay before she starts interviewing people. I heard, yeah, I thought you were looking it up.
Okay, that's what I'm doing.
I mean, I can look it up on the computer, I just didn't, I don't know off the top of my head. I just know that when the position was created and in the job description, it states that the clerk is, I mean, I do know the history, I was a deputy at the time, that it was mostly to help the zoning administrator with clerical work and to answer phones on the counter and to help out in any department as needed. And we used to have a separate office assistant. But then, when it got all combined into one, it has been.
I don't recall that happening, is what I'm trying to say.
It doesn't, it's not,
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Can we move on with the motion?
Let's finish, so is it okay to amend that motion?
I'm fine with the
Just say that
$15
you
an
guys
hour
need to
and
pay
scratch the
$15 an
rest.
hour.
So the
Do we
new,
have a second?
I'll second
so my motion is, I move that the new deputy treasurer be paid $15 an hour.
There is a motion and a support.
Are you looking it up still yet, Amy, or do you want, because I can look it up on the computer too.
Do you wanna look at this? I don't know where the clerk part
It's
is
gonna
at.
take, where it's at.
In the job descriptions, I know it
That's what I was
states
looking
that
at,
the
job
administrative assistant, which is part of the personnel manual, but, and this was done, like I said, before I was the clerk. The description says, provide supervisor, trustees, zoning administrator, committee members with clerical support, cover office hours when officials are away, general office, field account, answer phones, manage, blah, 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 blah. The position is primarily designed to assist officials and employees. The administrative assistant answers to the clerk as their immediate supervisor, but assists the entire board and staff. That's in the job descriptions, which is part of the personnel. Does that answer your question?
No.
What do you want?
Where does it give the clerk the authority to be an office manager? That's what I want to know.
It doesn't say that, it says that the office assistant answers to the clerk as their immediate supervisor.
But it also says a lot of other people too.
No, it doesn't, it says they assist in those duties, but, like I said, if you wanna be in charge of the office assistant, you're more than welcome. The only reason I do all these things is because nobody else will,
Motion on the floor.
so I don't know what you want
So the
from me.
motion that's on the floor and with support is the new deputy treasurer will be paid $15 an hour. We got a motion and support, if there's no further discussion.
roll call.
We did. Would you like a roll call? Okay. No, we're not spending
We're not
money. but
spending
you
any money,
can
we're
ask-
just
you can
setting
ask
pay
for a roll
rate.
call. That's fine.
I'm asking for roll.
So,
recall is that the new deputy treasurer gets paid $15 an hour, correct? No.
W. Grubb,
No.
Witt,
Yes.
Crampton, Atherton,
Yes.
Bushies.
No.
3 noes, 2 yeas. Motion fails. Next item, budget workshop. Was there's a motion to hold the budget workshop on March 7th at 7 p.m. to review the budget thoroughly.
That's what I don't know.
Again.
It's March 17th.
Let's see what day, 3 weeks from today.
Works for me.
What day is it?
Oh,
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
I just said it's Tuesday, 2 weeks from today.
Came from a couple different sources.
Oh, that's fine.
So, let's make a motion, I need a support.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Budget workshop set for March 7th at 7 p.m. That was the last item on the agenda. Moving on to board member discussion. Do you have anything? Nothing? Last call to the public regarding any item or issue. Since Don, you'll be the first one to turn in. Topic is zoning regulations.
Okay, mine has to do with zoning regulation and slips into budget too. Okay. It appears to be issues with the zoning regulation. If the secluded acres homeowners association applies to the township again for a SAD, funding to complete the road construction in the complex. The road was never completed, as stated by the engineering study done by the township last year. The work on the road was then discontinued at least 15 years ago. Under the township zoning reg, and I am using the 2017 copy, and I just found out that there is a 20 copy. Under the township zoning regulation, the approvals permits for the road have lapsed. And the homeowner association will be, should, I understand, be required to apply for new approval and permits. This will certainly affect how we apply and tell us what we can and can't do. As I understand it, new construction will have to meet the standards set by the new 2017 zoning regulations, because essentially we'll be starting over again. In turn, these regulations set the standards for road construction, ensuring that all estimates for work are based upon the same specifications. It therefore seems reasonable and that a determination on the issue should be appropriate, would be appropriate before any further considerations in the SAD for secluded acres takes place. Now, 1610, Section A, page 15 and 16 of the 2017 zoning regulations handles existing non-conforming roads. And essentially it says that if you're going to go back and change the road, like finish it, that you automatically come under the new regulations, which my understanding is it was a
2020.
2020. So that means that if the association is coming to you for money, taxpayer money, and the requirements, there are going to be requirements that we have to meet, and there are going to be permits and so forth that we're going to have to pull. You guys have already spent $1,770 for an engineering study.
15 seconds.
Now, according to the zoning regulations that I'm using, you have the right to inspect and have your engineers look at and make determinations of the road. Sorry. And so I don't see why the association isn't paying for it. Because it's strictly for us, and why should the taxpayers pay for something that seems to be covered?
Next person up, Steve Smith.
Well, I'm tired, so I'm gonna make this quick. So I attended the Livingston County Planning Commission meeting last week for my first time, and I was really impressed on how they handled the meeting. They had a list of agenda too, and after each one, they would ask if there's any public input. A lot of times there weren't, sometimes there weren't. And I request that you adopt something like this, because it's really hard as it stands now, the public really can't comment on anything you're doing. There's no mechanism for us to ask questions. If we do shout out a question, nobody answers it. And also, Sarah Porter did an amazing job on her analysis. I would like for your next meeting that you please respond to that so all of us know. Thank you.
Next person up, Mike Brown.
A few different items. The first one is the permission slip, that the way I read the Freedom of Information Act is not legal. In the Freedom of Information Act, it states that you are allowed to limit the time per person. You are not allowed to limit how many people speak. You are allowed to make a certain portion of your meeting, beginning and both, whatever you would like, for the public to speak. That's number one. Number two, on your agenda that you put on your website, page 2 of the agenda, in Conway Township Policy Number 7, Public Comment and Conduct Policy. It does not state anywhere on this about a permission slip to be turned in. That's number 2. Number 3, according to the Freedom of Information Act, we do not also have to give you our name and our address. We can say pass, and then it is up to you to respond from there. So I suggest you start reading, because this is a major, major concern of everybody that's here about the permission slip. And the last thing I want to say is I'm wondering about fiber optics that was happening in horizontal boring at Nicholson and Sober about a week ago. Wondering what that was about.
Hold on, real quick. Did you put the article in the News and Views
Which one?
regarding the agricultural part of the solar?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And if you would like to know more about that and how farmland is not going to be put back into farmland after this is over because of the decline in productivity, and farmers are having problems now.
There's an agronomic issue here that's
Correct.
not being addressed.
And farmers are having problems now making $300 to $350 an acre in Livingston County. And if you would like that information, I have it also. and all their ins and outs of farms in this county. So if you let it sit for 30 years, and they say they can't find people to farm now or don't have family members that will take over the farm now, what do you think is gonna happen in 30 years when the productivity goes down after this sits for that long? Read the article if you need to know more about that, because I'm sure I'm ready to run out of time. But
Can you tell them what you did for a living before you retired?
Hey, don't worry about the time, you can have my time.
and mine.
And mine.
And mine.
So with that, what I did for a living, I was a builder. And I also owned a rough framing company with about 25 employees. So when you do this type of activity on farmland, it's just like any construction job. They're tearing up, they're mixing subsoils, all reduces productivity of the land. So the productivity of this in 30 years is going to be way, way less than it is now. The farmers won't be able to make a living in 30 years if they don't continue to farm the land. It's a fact.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So after they put up all these solar cells and everything, okay, are they required to turn the land back over in the same condition as when they got it?
So,
Because all of the concrete, the wiring, and all this other stuff that's been stuck in the ground
correct,
is gonna have to be removed.
correct. So that is going to also turn the soil over, right? You're getting subsoil into topsoil. Also, the 30 years of runoff is going to run topsoil off either off the property or to the lowlands of the property. So you're going to lose topsoil at the high end of the property. It's all going to get dumped on the low end of the property. When you do that, the high end of the property will not sustain crops for the productivity that they need per acre. Now you have too much topsoil in the lowlands, which can be flooding and things like that happen more often, and it's going to kill the crop in the lowlands. So the productivity of the land is not going to be nowhere near what it is right now. And it's this way for any construction site. You're turning the dirt over, you're mixing the soils.
So it will ruin the neighbor's property. If they don't want to do solar, then their property's ruined also.
Now, when they do the construction on the solar, I know a lot of builders will strip a certain amount of topsoil off and sell it.
Right.
So are the solar cells, to level it out and make it?
They do level some of the land in the property, yes. Whether they sell that off or not, I guess that would be up to
Mike,
the company.
you guys continue this
Okay.
work.
That would be up to the company or the property owner.
Steve and Jim, you continue. The last one is Sarah. Last one.
Referencing that same policy 7, number 5, I believe number 5 is in violation of the Open Meetings Act. You cannot group people together and say by topic. I do notice you changed your permission slip from last month. You did take away the called upon yes or no, which I thought was funny because that's not allowed. I have some things to give to the board, so I'm formally requesting that you review that. Either take it out or update it, because it can say that you request that 3 people or more on a topic consolidate their topics to one person. I have a Michigan State Extension article that, first sentence, does the Open Meetings Act allow public officials to prohibit a person from speaking during public comment? In a word, no. Further, the Attorney General opinion stated that any rule which has the effect of completely denying a person the right to speak in public comment is invalid. None of these limitations allow a person's right of public comment to be denied. This is from the state of Michigan. You can decide when during the meeting they can speak, whether and how members of the public wishing to speak register or reserve a time to speak, a limitation on how much time each person gets. If a large group of people want to communicate the same message, the board can request that that group appoint a spokesperson. The Open Meetings Act also says this act shall supersede any local charter provision, ordinance, or resolution which relates to the requirements for the meetings of local public bodies. Also states a person must be permitted to address a meeting of a public body under the rules established and recorded by the body. But again, it supersedes your rules if you make up stuff that does not match the Open Meetings Act. A person must not be excluded from a meeting, otherwise, unless breach of peace is your only way out. So unless you're gonna do that. So I'm asking you to either take it out or put, because I believe by posting it here, you're violating people's First Amendment rights. Because if I read that and I don't know the rules, I might go, gosh, 3 people talked about solar and now I can't. That's wrong.
That was the first person on call to the public. Entertain a motion to adjourn. Jeff made a motion to adjourn.
Somebody else has a
I
question.
had a slip in. Oh, there's slip.
And you are,
Jim.
You
Oh, yeah.
didn't
ceded
you
your
say you
time.
conceded your time to Mike?
No, I did not. That was over here.
Okay, I heard 2 people.
No, I just put my.
It doesn't matter, they can go to
Your
the,
time.
it doesn't matter, they can go to the back of the line and do it again. You cannot stop the call to the public legally.
I know, I have the thing from home here and from Andy about it.
Okay. I'm here just for the most part to tell you I am in favor.
That's Jim Cho.
Are you gonna listen to me?
Yes, I'm.
Thank you very
Just wanna
much.
make sure we get the recordings in order.
Okay, I'm just here to say I'm in favor of the broadband, to pay the $300,000 to the 216 or how many people there are out there that don't have good internet. Because my internet is horrible. I don't, any of you have broadband? Or do you just go to the tower?
Tower.
I go to the tower. I swear to God, the service guy knows my dog's name. He's been there so many times. All right? He personally gave me his phone number. Because I have that many problems with Surfaire's tower to dish. So there's broadband, fiber optics to the north of me and to the south of me in both townships. Can we connect this? This is 2023. Please, thank you.
Andrew Sharon. So, back in 2017, the board was put forth a project to expand broadband, spending $20,000 on a plan, not even action, and decided not to proceed. It was non-issue.
It's actually more than that.
It was over 100.
It was over 100,000. Thank you for correcting me there. And now we're being hesitant to expanding now, to finishing the business from long ago.
There's 2 different things.
That plan was gonna give everyone in the township broadband.
It was also going to be an undue burden on taxes for the taxpayers and farmers, as I was told in the past. That was a good point, because we dodged a bullet there before. But now we have an opportunity to give funds to an ISP and have them expand for our benefit, and we don't have to upkeep the equipment. That's like, and we are proceeding with actions, as I'm seeing, just to be a bit critical here, on actions to explore repairs on infrastructure with quotations without any discussion or maps of who this is impacting, when broadband has already been established as a big widespread issue within our area. The county has done studies. Why are we dodging this issue? Is what I ask the board. Because it feels like we're dodging it.
We have a list of people that the drains are for and for the broadband. That's where we're getting the numbers from.
Just get it from the numbers. Why are we not proceeding with the other thing?
Hasn't been decided.
Oh, just as we explore one issue, I think we should also explore the other issue too.
We're waiting, I believe we're waiting for concrete numbers, aren't we? Isn't that what we're waiting for, is detail and
that's what
numbers?
we-
And it's very
We don't have
difficult
it.
to negotiate with public funds, I think we can all agree.
Well, we're contributing public funds that normally an ISP doesn't require public funds.
True. And we should be scrutinizing their plans as well.
That's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
And in the
That's why
board
we haven't
meeting, notes,
approved
I
it.
just don't see that visibility.
We just discussed that was what we were waiting for, that we're waiting for them to give us hard details.
Okay, so our details is what you want.
We've asked for them, that's what I'm saying, we're waiting for them to provide them. We've asked Surf Broadband to give us a plan, and they have not done so. They just want us to give them a check with a blank.
And that's reasonable, I think, policy right there.
We have a.
To give them a blank check and a blank
But
contract.
We have a fiduciary responsibility.
Yeah, of course, I second that move. I second, that's one thing I do not want
Be
to.
back next month, we'll have more information.
Yeah, I think so. I just heard from last month that we just dodged the opportunity to expand because we were concerned with other matters. Which I think one gentleman noted here, it's really difficult to get your answer to your point when you don't have the time to get like that between each issue being discussed. I think that gentleman had a very good point. But I guess that concludes my remarks on the issue. I hope that the board is understanding.
Thank you for your input.
Good job.
I'd just like to make a quick one. I really would like you to talk to Cohocton Township and you guys together and really have a serious conversation on this broadband.
Oh, I've been in touch with Mark
Okay, 'cause
almost
this-
daily.
Yeah, this guy that came up here doesn't seem to have all his paperwork in order when he's speaking to you, and the same in Cohocton. So, yeah, definitely talk to each other and do some research
That's
on
why
that.
we're not approving
Yeah,
it, because
I
we're
agree.
getting false information, changed information.
Yeah, he was not organized
Incomplete
last time he was here.
information, and that's why we haven't gone for it.
I'm just saying, I agree with you guys, and yeah, you guys all need to talk.
It's been a
together.
problem. It's been a problem with paperwork.
Yeah,
It's been a problem. Okay, not just last month or this month. It's been a problem.
For
in the
years,
past.
we've been trying to get a plan, and they
And the
won't
same
give
thing
us,
in
they want a
Cohocton.
blank contract and a blank check.
Yeah, we're getting the same questions. Yeah.
Well, and that's what we're doing, but then we're being told we're not doing it, well, we haven't gotten a design plan.
We're not gonna approve a blank document. That's not gonna happen. Okay,
No,
I
that's
just
what I'm saying,
want,
that's what.
I just want you to understand.
It's like
That's
your
what
roads
was-
not gonna get fixed.
That's what, no wait, that's what was proposed, was to approve a blank document.
Right, I've seen the man sitting here, just give us the money and we'll tell you how many people when we're done with it.
Okay.
And we won't
Right,
do
I
it.
agree. Cohocton got the same line, so I totally agree with you waiting and doing your research on this.
Anyone else? Need a motion to return.
Or
Or
George can have it.
Thank you.
8:51, I know George likes to move for George.
Okay, all in favor of adjournment? Say aye. Aye, opposed? Meeting adjourned.